She whispered, pretend to kiss me to a stranger, discover the incredible life-changing twist. Ellie could taste the grease of the diner in the air, a familiar blend of fried food and coffee, but today it felt different. It was her family gathering, and the weight of expectation pressed down on her like a heavy curtain. As a waitress, she had mastered the art of balance, juggling plates and people. Yet here she was, cornered by her relatives who, despite their cheerful faces, zeroed in on her like vultures. "Why are you still single, Ellie? Don't you want to settle down?" Their questions felt like daggers. Each inquiry reminded her of her financial struggles, of the dreams she shelved away. "I'm just focused on work," she replied, forcing a smile. But inside, a storm raged. Across the bar, she spotted Jake. He was a captivating stranger, laughing heartily with the bartender as if they'd known each other for years. They made eye contact, and she felt a spark, a flicker of something she hadn't felt in ages. Fueled by impulse and the desperate need to escape her reality, she leaned in close, heart racing. "Pretend to kiss me," she whispered. Jake's eyebrows shot up in surprise, but a hint of a smile played on his lips. He did as she asked, leaning in briefly, and the moment lit up the diner's atmosphere like flipping a switch. It was playful, a shared breath of freedom that sent warmth flooding through her. They lingered in that space, eyes locked, an unspoken understanding forming. "Crazy family, huh?" He chuckled, a charming lilt in his voice. They began to share their stories, his dreams of photography, her aspirations that felt buried beneath bills and responsibilities. The fondness they found in each other built a sanctuary amidst the chatter of family traditions surrounding them. Just then, the doors swung open, like a scene from a dramatic play. Max, her estranged brother, entered. The room thickened with tension as shame washed over Ellie, tugging at her heart. Max, a decorated veteran, was a living ghost, haunted by battles that left scars deeper than any visible wound. His return, uninvited and unexpected, reignited their family's unhealed wounds. Ellie's connection with Jake felt like a fleeting wish, overshadowed by her brother's struggles. The laughter they had shared faded like the flickering neon lights outside. She found herself grappling with old fears and aspirations she had buried deep. As her family scrutinized Max, Ellie felt torn between her instincts to support him and the hope she found in Jake's company. The evening swirled around them in painful juxtaposition, the warmth of Jake's smile and the burden of her brother's silence. When Max locked eyes with her, she saw years of pain, a reminder of her own unrealized dreams. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With each passing minute, Ellie's heart raced faster. Jake began to pull her into vibrant discussions about art, friendship, and what it meant to dream. But just as she dared to imagine a future beyond the diner, a hidden truth shattered her newfound light. Jake's family had crossed paths with hers in ways that went beyond mere coincidence. As the room vibrated with her family's renewed confrontation of old issues, Ellie sat on the precipice of a defining moment, clutching desperately to hope. Could she break free from the chains of expectation, or would her brother's cry for help silence her budding desires forever? Her eyes darted between Jake's comforting gaze and her brother's haunted stare, waiting to see which path her heart would take. The chapter of this emotional journey was only beginning, and the air thickened with possibility. The chatter of the diner felt like a distant wave crashing, a blurry background to the intensity that had swallowed Ellie whole. She couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change, and as she looked at Jake, the warmth of her brief escape began to chill. He didn't know her story, and a sharp pang of guilt seized her heart. "Ellie, is everything okay?" Jake asked softly, his eyes full of concern as he leaned closer. The sweet scent of cinnamon and coffee swirled between them, a strange contrast to the tempest brewing inside her. "Yeah, I'm fine," she finally managed, but her voice wavered, and she instantly regretted the lie. Deep down, she felt like she was unraveling. What was it about her brother's presence that had cast such a shadow? Max was a flashpoint of unresolved issues. She remembered when they'd once been inseparable, sharing ideas and dreams before life splintered them apart. Comment after comment from their relatives blurred the lines, shifting her focus away from Jake to her family's tense interactions, the whisperings about Max's PTSD and his struggle to fit back into a world that felt foreign. Ellie could feel the weight of her family's scrutiny on her own shoulders as her stomach twisted with dread. "Why don't we step outside?" Jake suggested, breaking the tension that had built like a storm cloud looming over them. The night air was crisp as they moved toward the diner's entrance. As she crossed the threshold, Ellie glanced back at her family. They looked like a tableau of anger, guilt, and confusion, swirling in the light of the neon diner sign. But Jake's hand tucked under her elbow guided her forward, offering her a fleeting sense of freedom, a chance to breathe. "Are you sure you're okay?" he asked again once they stood on the sidewalk. His voice was gentle, but Ellie could feel the weight of her world pressing against her. It's complicated," she sighed, dragging her fingers through her hair. "My brother just came back from the war, and it's been rough on my family. I thought I could break away for a moment, but it's okay to want a reprieve," he interjected. His eyes shone with empathy, and there was something in the way he stood, a solidity that whispered she could lean on him. A silence settled between them, a fragile bridge built from shared vulnerability. Slowly, she felt herself relax, like a tight string beginning to loosen. Though her heart still ached for Max, she found solace in Jake's presence. "Maybe I wanted to feel alive for a bit," she confessed softly, the honesty slipping free like a secret she had kept locked inside. "Everything feels so heavy." "I get it. Life's full of messy moments," he replied, his voice steady. "But those moments can lead us somewhere unexpected." There was a spark in his gaze that ignited something in Ellie, a curiosity about where this path might lead them. Ellie sensed that tonight could be a turning point. As they stood there under the dim light of the diner sign, it felt surreal. The world around her faded, replaced by the potential that hung in the air. She wanted to reach for it, to embrace whatever lay ahead. But just as she was about to take a leap, the sound of her family's voices erupted from behind her. "Ellie! We need to talk." Her heart faltered. A clash of desires and responsibilities surged within her. Should she stay and face the chaos, or should she follow the thread of hope that Jake offered? Ellie turned, her eyes searching Jake's for answers, feeling as if a pivotal choice lay just ahead. Would she hold on to the past, or trust in the unknown? The boundaries of her world seemed to stretch and shift, and all she could do was take a breath. But as she caught a glimpse of Max's shadow in the diner window, a question echoed in her mind, rich with urgency: what direction would her heart choose to follow? The voices grew louder, pulling Ellie back into the reality she had tried so hard to escape. Jake's gaze held hers, a mixture of encouragement and uncertainty swirling between them. The bright lights of the diner seemed to flicker with the tension hanging in the air, casting shadows that mirrored her swirling thoughts. "Go," Jake urged gently, but his hand remained on her arm, a tether to this moment. "If you need to face them, I'll be right here waiting." 1,000 memories rushed forward, each one sharper than the last. The laughter with her brother, the fights, the quiet moments of support turned awkward after the war had taken its toll. She wondered if Max would even still be the same person she once knew. The thought made her stomach churn. Taking a step back, she pulled away from his touch, forcing herself towards the chaos in the diner. She could feel Jake's eyes on her, a silent promise that he wouldn't disappear. But as she faced her family, anxiety clawed at her. Their faces were drawn tight, shadows of concern etched in their frowns and furrowed brows. "Ellie," her mother's voice was sharp, a knife breaking through the tension of the moment. "We need to talk about Max. He's not doing well. You can't just ignore it." Ellie felt her heart drop. Ignoring it? That was her lifeline. I'm not ignoring anything. She faltered, glancing back towards Jake, who stood outside watching, patient and steady. I wanted a moment to breathe. But what about him? Her father interjected, crossing his arms defensively. He's been through hell, and we can't just pretend everything is fine. You're his sister. You should be there for him. The weight of expectations crashed down on her. It felt suffocating. She spun on her heel, her heart racing with frustration. I can't just be the emotional backbone for everyone. I need a minute too. The diner grew quiet, the laughter fading into murmurs of surprise at her outburst. But that's what family is. Cried her mother, tears welling in her eyes. We need each other now more than ever. What about what Ellie needed? She felt caught in an emotional tug-of-war, her heartstrings pulled taut. And then, out of the chaos, a surprising thought bubbled up in her mind. What if she embraced the very thing that terrified her? What if she danced in the chaos instead of trying to flee? With a newfound determination, she turned back to Jake, the decision crystallizing in her chest. Jake, would you pretend to kiss me? It slipped out before she could think twice. Just to help clear my head for a second. I don't want to feel this weight alone. He raised an eyebrow, surprise flashing across his face before a slow smile spread. Are you sure? As she nodded, the heaviness of her family's voices faded momentarily, replaced by a daring sense of hope. Jake stepped forward, closing the distance between them, and in that second, reality blurred. The world melted away, leaving just the two of them. But as their lips met softly, a familiar voice shattered the moment. Ellie! What are you doing? It was Max, stepping through the diner door, his expression a mix of shock and confusion. Ellie's heart raced, caught between the thrill of the moment and the weight of her brother's gaze. What had she set in motion? As the laughter and whispers from the diner returned, she found herself at another crossroads, the weight of the world pressing back down. Would this be the escape she longed for, or just another layer of complexity to navigate? The kiss lingered, unexpected feelings swirling within her as she confronted Max's bewildered stare, realizing nothing would ever be the same again. Ellie's heart raced, not just from shock, but from a flurry of emotions colliding in her chest. Max's eyes blazed with disbelief, and for a moment, nothing else existed beyond that look. The laughter of the diner faded into an eerie silence, leaving only the weight of the unsaid words hanging between them. Ellie, what the hell? Max's voice was a mixture of hurt and anger, slicing through the tension like a knife. His confusion twisted painfully in her gut. She'd half expected him to storm in, but instead, he just stood there, anchored to the spot as if completely lost. Jake pulled back slightly, glancing between the two siblings. The warmth that had enveloped them moments before now felt cold and distant. Max, Ellie started, but the words tangled in her throat. What could she say? How could she explain something that felt so bizarre even to herself? Is this some kind of joke? Max shot back, his brow furrowing deeper. You know what I've been going through, Ellie. This isn't a game. No, it's not a joke. Ellie exclaimed, her own frustration bubbling over. She stepped closer, her palms sweating. Maybe that's why I did it. Because I'm scared, and I don't know how to help you. I thought maybe for a second, pretending might make me feel better. Pretending? He scoffed, disbelief painting his features. This is about me, and you think pretending is somehow the answer. Don't you dare twist this into something it's not. Ellie felt her breathing quicken. You don't get to act like you're the only one in pain. I'm struggling too. Max opened his mouth to respond, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, a flicker of vulnerability crossed his face, and the anger faded. You think I want all this? You think I want it to come back and feel like this? His voice trembled, revealing the cracks beneath his tough exterior. I couldn't save my friends, Ellie. I don't even know how to save myself. The diner's atmosphere shifted again. As scattered glances from the patrons lingered on them, Ellie could feel the weight of the world pushing back in. Max, I don't have all the answers, she finally said, her voice softer now. I thought maybe if we could just find a moment of light, it could help us. I just didn't want to carry this burden alone. Jake stood nearby, a quiet observer, but even he couldn't ignore the tension pulsing in the air. He took a step forward, breaking the thick silence that had enveloped them. Look, if it helps pretending or not, Ellie cares about you. We all do. But shoving it under the rug won't make it disappear. Max looked between Jake and Ellie. You have no idea what I'm going through, either of you, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. But this time, there was a crack in his armor. A glimmer of something that felt like hope flickered in his eyes. Ellie felt the tightness in her chest ease slightly. You're right, she said carefully. We don't understand everything. But we can figure it out together. You don't have to face this alone. Max took a deep breath, something shifting beneath the surface. I don't even know where to begin. Ellie stepped closer, offering a soft, tentative smile. Neither do I. But maybe we can take that first step together. Just then, Ellie's phone buzzed painfully in her pocket. She saw the name flashing on the screen and froze. Tina. She hadn't heard from her in weeks. The tension of the moment swelled back inside her. With a deep breath, she answered, knowing this might lead to even more confusion. As she raised the phone to her ear, a sense of dread twisted through her. What did Tina want? Why now? Ellie. I need you to listen carefully. The world around her blurred again, leaving her heart pounding. What if this call changed everything once again? Ellie's heartbeat thundered in her ears as Tina's voice crackled through the phone. Ellie. I need you to listen carefully, okay, she replied, trying to keep her tone steady. Max's eyes were locked on her, the weight of the moment crashing down all over again. I'm in a bad place, Tina continued, urgency lacing her words. Like a really bad one. I need your help. I didn't want to bother you, but I don't know who else to turn to. Ellie felt the color drain from her face. What is going on? Are you okay? I'm not okay. I'm in a town nearby, and I think I'm in trouble. Can you come? Max shifted beside her. The air felt thick, heavy with unspoken tension as he leaned in, his curiosity growing. She averted her gaze, focusing on the voice on the other end. Tina, where are you? It's complicated. But please, trust me. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. I'm scared, Ellie. The sharpness of her friend's fear cut through Ellie. Fear was all too familiar now. I'll be there, she said quickly, adrenaline igniting her limbs. As she hung up, Ellie turned to Max. His expression was a mix of concern and confusion. Who was that? It was Tina. She needs me. The urgency in her voice was palpable. I don't have time to explain everything right now. I need to go. Max shook his head, panic surfacing. You can't just drop everything. What if it's a mistake? She swallowed hard, feeling tears prick at the corners of her eyes. I can't abandon her, Max. We both know how it feels to be alone in dark places. She's reaching out. I have to go. No. He barked, a knot tightening in his throat. What if it's bad? What if you get hurt? A part of her felt tangled between his fear for her safety and the desperate call for help from Tina. I can't just leave her alone in whatever mess she's in, Ellie whispered, her voice cracking. She could see the weight of his pain reflected back at her. Max stepped forward, his voice softening. Okay. If you're going to go, then I'm coming with you. You shouldn't have to face this alone either. She blinked, caught off guard by the change in his tone. You really want to come? Yeah, he said, an air of resolve taking over his previously clouded expression. You're my sister. If she's in trouble, I want to help. A surge of warmth washed over Ellie. She felt reckless hope creeping in, a flicker of light igniting in the heavy uncertainty. Let us go, then, Ellie urged, a sense of purpose taking hold as they stepped outside the diner. The world beyond was not just theirs anymore, it somehow belonged to Tina too. As they climbed into Ellie's car, the weight of possibility pressed heavily against them. It felt strange, three souls tangled up in their struggles, drawn together by something bigger. The car's engine roared to life, and Ellie glanced at Max, who had pulled out a small notebook, scribbling something down. What's that? Just some thoughts, he replied, tucking it away. I want to be ready for whatever comes next. Ellie smiled softly, feeling the gravity of the moment and the hope they were piecing together. The road stretched before them, dusty and uncertain, but they weren't alone anymore. As they drove deeper into the unknown, Ellie felt a spark of curiosity igniting. What awaited them with Tina? But a flutter of dread curled in her stomach. Was this really the right choice? The car sped down the highway, the horizon blurring ahead of them. Each mile felt like a question, building the anticipation. Would they face danger? Or was there a chance to redeem not just Tina, but themselves too? With each passing second, their fates intertwined, leaving Ellie wondering what lay ahead. The highway opened up, a ribbon of asphalt stretching into the unknown. Ellie gripped the steering wheel tighter, her knuckles white with tension. She could feel Max's eyes on her, the unspoken questions hanging between them like shadows. Do you have any idea what kind of trouble she's in? Max finally asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Ellie shook her head. No. But I know Tina. She wouldn't call if it wasn't serious. She thought of their late-night talks during college, their shared dreams and the secrets that felt as heavy as bricks. Tina had always been the brave one, the first to leap into the unknown. Ellie was the one who followed, anchoring her to reality. Just be careful, okay? Max said, rubbing his chin as if trying to shake off the worry etched on his face. I will, she promised, though her own mind was racing. What if they didn't find her in time? What if they drove all that way and it was nothing? A chill ran down her spine. They had faced demons before, but this felt different. More raw. Minutes turned to miles, each stretch of road blurring together. The landscape grew sparser, craggy hills emerging like specters through the trees. An uneasy silence filled the car, broken only by the low hum of the engine. Do you remember that time she tried to convince us to go skydiving? Ellie asked, wanting to deflate the tension. Max barked a laugh, though the sound held a nervous edge. I thought she was insane. None of us were even into heights. Right? And then she did it anyway. Ellie's smile faded as she remembered Tina's infectious laughter. It had always been a comfort, like a warm blanket wrapping around her soul. Maybe this is just her going through a rough patch, Max said softly, but even he didn't sound convinced. The realm of just a patch felt too simple for anything connected to Tina. Ellie took a deep breath. What if it's more than that? What if she's in real danger? The road was silent, the weight of their words hung heavy. As they turned a corner, a quaint town appeared like an oasis in the desert. We're almost there, Ellie said, her heart racing faster than the miles they had covered. She parked the car and they stepped out. The cool air washed over them, but Ellie felt the heat of urgency rising within. This way, she motioned, leading Max down a narrow street lined with weathered houses. Where exactly are we going? Max asked, eyeing the crumbling buildings and flickering streetlights. I don't know, she didn't say. Just told me to follow the signs. Ellie bit her lip, anxiety gnawing at her as she tried to think of every possible scenario. They turned another corner and there it was, a faded, shabby tavern with neon lights buzzing dimly above the door. It felt like the average set for a bad action movie, a place where chaos and hidden truths collided. Ellie's heart raced. This must be it, she breathed. They exchanged a glance, uncertainty mingling with determination. Are you ready? Max asked, scanning the entrance like a soldier heading into battle. No. A voice chirped from behind them, startling both of them. A petite woman with wild curls swept into their path, her eyes bright with mischief. You aren't scared, are you? Ellie blinked. What? Because if you are, I can help you with that. The woman extended her arms, a glimmer of something wild in her eyes, a challenge, maybe? Who are you? Max frowned, protective instincts kicking in. Just a friendly face, she said, her smile wide. And your best chance to find your friend. But first she leaned in closer, whispering conspiratorially, will you pretend to kiss me? It's a sort of ritual. Ellie looked at Max, then back at the woman. What does that even mean? Trust me, came the encouraging reply, a playful grin making Ellie wonder if they were in over their heads. Max's expression twisted between incredulousness and intrigue. We really should think about this. But the woman's eyes sparkled with a strange energy. Time's wasting. If your friend is in trouble, actions speak louder than words. Now, what'll it be? Ellie paused, her heart simultaneously hammering and sinking. What are we getting ourselves into? As they hesitated on the brink of a choice that could seal their fates, Ellie's thoughts raced. Was this really the way to help Tina? Did daring to pretend hold the answer? Let us go, Ellie finally said, a rush of adrenaline pushing her forward. But as they followed the woman's lead toward the tavern, a sense of unease settled deep in her chest. What awaited them inside? And more importantly, would they find Tina before it was too late? The woman, still grinning, pushed the door open with a dramatic flourish. Inside, the tavern smelled of old wood and spilled beer, the kind of place where stories were etched into the walls. Dimly lit, it was a world apart from the bright streets outside. The low murmur of voices, punctuated by the clinking of glasses, felt both warm and foreboding. Ellie took a tentative step inside, her heart fluttering with every footfall. Max hovered behind her, casting wary glances at the patrons scattered around the room. There were a few older men at the bar, deep in conversation, and a group of younger folks in a corner playing a rowdy game. All eyes seemed to land on them as they entered, interest flickering in the shadows. Welcome to the Wild Goose, the woman said with a theatrical gesture. I'm Cassie, your guide to the unknown. She spun on her heel, her curls dancing like wild flames. Now, about that kiss, Max sighed, shifting his gaze from Cassie to Ellie. Are we really going to do this? I think we should, Ellie replied, feeling the pressure of the moment wash over her. If this helps us find Tina, it's worth a shot. Cassie's eyes danced with excitement. Great choice. They say a kiss ignites courage, and you'll need it. Follow my lead. Before Ellie could gather her thoughts, Cassie stepped forward. She turned her back to Ellie, facing Max, and leaned toward him. There was a sparkle of mischief in her eyes, inviting yet intimidating. Don't just stand there. Show her you're fearless. Max's brows knitted together in confusion, but Ellie felt a smile creeping onto her face. No pressure, she said, her voice just above a whisper. In an impulsive moment, Max stepped forward, taking Cassie by the shoulders. All right then. He leaned in, kissing her lightly on the cheek. Not quite the ritual I had in mind, Cassie teased, but it broke the tension. The laughter that followed hung in the air like a sweetened spell. Ellie felt a warmth spreading through her. It wasn't just the silliness of it all, but a reminder of how surreal life could be. Okay, my turn, Ellie grinned, stepping up to Cassie and giving her a quick peck on the cheek, matching Max's playful defiance. Cassie clapped her hands, eyes sparkling. See? Nothing to be afraid of. And now for the next part. She turned sharply, leading them to the bar, adrenaline buzzing in the air. Tina's a force of nature, right? If she's here, people will know. Why do you assume that? Max asked, still trying to make sense of the whirlwind they walked into. Cassie paused, glancing back over her shoulder, her expression suddenly serious. Because people come here when they need to disappear or when they're in trouble. This place holds secrets. With a quick movement, she waved down the bartender, a grizzled man with a beard that looked like it had seen its share of life's ups and downs. We're looking for a friend, Cassie said, her tone shifting. Tina. She's in trouble. Have you seen her? The bartender's eyes narrowed. What's it to you? Ellie felt the gravity of Cassie's words settle around them. The laughter from earlier faded, replaced by heavy anticipation. I can't say, he replied, rubbing the stubble on his chin. But you ask the wrong question here, you might just find the wrong answers. The knot in Ellie's stomach tightened. What did that mean? Max stepped closer, concern etched on his face. We don't want any trouble. Just tell us if you know her. What if they were on the brink of something bigger than they had imagined? Cassie leaned closer to the bartender, her voice a low murmur. We'll do whatever it takes to help her. We just want to know she's safe. The bartender's gaze flickered, a glimmer of understanding crossing his features, but he remained silent, weighing his words as if they were as precious as gold. Ellie's heart raced. They were so close, yet the distance felt insurmountable. Would they be able to break through whatever barrier surrounded Tina? Just then, a figure caught Ellie's eye, darting from the back of the tavern. A chilling familiarity in the silhouette made her breath catch in her throat. Is that? Before she could finish, the figure was gone, swallowed by the shadows of the tavern. Wait! Ellie shouted, instinct kicking in as she rushed after it, urgency propelling her forward. What if it was Tina? And what if they were about to unlock a darkness they could never have prepared for? Ellie confined her gaze to the lingering shadows that had consumed the mysterious figure. A rush of adrenaline coursed through her veins as she pushed past bemused patrons, the lively chatter now a distant echo. She couldn't lose her. It had to be Tina. Ellie. Wait up. Max's voice called behind her, strained but determined. Yet she couldn't halt, her instincts surged ahead, guiding her towards something she felt in her bones. The tight space between bodies eased into claustrophobic walls, each passing moment stretching. The tavern's back door swung slightly ajar as if beckoning her. It creaked with an ominous whisper. Ellie hesitated, heart drumming loudly, but her breath quickened. She took the plunge, yanking the door open and stumbling into the cool night air. The alley was dark, but a distant flicker of light pulsed from around the corner. Tina. She called into the void. Nothing but silence responded. Just then, Max emerged behind her, panting. You should be waited. What if do you see her? Ellie interrupted, forcing herself to focus. She glanced back into the tavern through the open door. Cassie stood inside, a figure shrouded in bemusement. Let's check around the corner. Max placed a firm hand on her back, guiding her step by step. They rounded the corner, desperation fueling their pace. As they approached the glow, Ellie saw it a flickering candle illuminating a small table set against the brick wall. A lighter sat on the edge, and tangled around the table leg was a bright red scarf. In that moment, recognition ignited within her chest. It was Tina's. She had seen it often, flowing in the wind as Tina danced with laughter. Tina! Ellie shouted, the sound of her own voice ringing raw in her ears. Ellie! Max! A voice from the shadows groaned. The sound was heartbreakingly familiar but laced with dread. A muffled rustle came from behind a stack of crates nearby. Heart racing, Ellie rushed toward it, pulling at the crates. They rattled, but she pushed through, her hands trembling as they revealed a disheveled figure wrapped in electric blue light spilling through the alley. Tina! Ellie gasped, knelt over her friend. Tina's eyes fluttered open, confusion mingling with fear. Ellie? What are you doing here? Max stepped in, concern etched on his features. Are you okay? What happened? A faint wince crossed Tina's face. I didn't want you to find me like this, she whispered, a fragile quiver in her voice. There are things you don't understand. Ellie shook her head, tears stinging her eyes. You're safe now, we can figure this out together. But the fear in Tina's gaze was unsettling, sparking warnings in Ellie's mind. The moment dragged, heavy and thick, as realization blanketed them. Why was Tina hiding? What had she gotten herself into? Suddenly, from the depths of the darkness, a familiar figure emerged, a shadow that twisted with the flickering candlelight. Cassie's silhouette fell upon them, almost serene yet haunting. Looks like you've stumbled into the heart of the matter. What do you mean? Max snapped, stepping protectively closer to Ellie and Tina, who recoiled slightly. It's not as simple as saving her, Cassie said lightly, the softness of her tone contrasting the weight of her words. Truths smolder here, and perhaps you're not just looking for her. You need courage to confront what you may find. Ellie's mind raced. Courage? What truth? The weight of Cassie's gaze bore down on her. Tina's expression darkened as she turned her head, leaning into Ellie. No, Ellie, you're not ready for what's next. The words hit hard, laced with a vulnerability that left Ellie's heart racing. What were they headed for, and did they have the strength to face it? Cassie stepped closer, her demeanor shifting, an unspoken challenge hanging in the air. Sometimes, in the shadows of our fears, lies the only way to truly see. As darkness loomed around them, Ellie's heart raced with a mix of hope and dread. What lay ahead? Was she prepared to uncover the hidden pieces of Tina's world? She felt the urgency of a distant truth pulling at the seams. Of her courage. It was time to find out what lurked behind the veil of shadows. And in that moment, as the flickering candlelight danced to the fraying edges of darkness, Ellie whispered, "What are we about to unleash?" As Ellie knelt beside Tina, a cold breeze swept through the alley, sending shivers down her spine. The frail candlelight flickered, casting dancing shadows over their faces. She could feel the weight of Cassie's words pressing upon them. The truth was there, hiding in the corners, just out of reach. Max leaned closer, his brows knitted in concern. "What do you mean, not ready?" He pressed. "We need to help her, Cassie." Cassie's expression softened slightly. "You don't understand the situation. It's bigger than we think. Whatever Tina is dealing with, it's connected to all of us." As the shadows wavered, Ellie caught the expression in Tina's eyes. It was a mix of fear and something else, something deeper that made Ellie's heart ache. "You're scaring me, Tina. You can talk to us. Please." Tina's lips trembled, as if words hung on the edge of her tongue. After a moment of silence that felt like an eternity, she finally whispered, "I didn't mean to get caught up in this. But the decision was made for me, and now they want to let me go without a fight." "Who want to let you go?" Max asked urgently, casting frantic glances around the alley as if expecting someone to leap from the shadows. Tina hesitated, glancing down the alley as if sensing something hidden there. "The people I've been involved with, they need me for something." Cassie stepped back a pace. "Involved with?" "Tina, if you're in danger, you've got to tell them everything. Hiding this won't help at all." Ellie felt a swell of protectiveness for her friend. "We're here for you, Tina. Whatever it is." Suddenly, a sharp noise pierced the air, a clattering sound echoing from the end of the alley. Ellie's heart raced. She turned, scanning the darkness as whispers of anxiety swept past. Tina flinched at the sound. "You have to go. They're coming. You shouldn't be here." "No," Max insisted, shaking his head fiercely. "We're not leaving you." But Tina looked at Ellie, her eyes pleading. "You don't understand. This isn't just about me. If they find you here." Cassie stepped forward, her voice low and steady. "Tina, we'll figure this out together, but you have to trust us. What is the connection? Who are they? Just then, the flicker of the candle dimmed as shadows surged closer. Ellie could feel a rising panic within her, that same adrenaline from earlier. Run! She shouted, but she wasn't sure who she was directing it to herself, Max, or Tina. Tina's voice, trembling yet fierce, cut through the chaos. No. I want to let you face this alone. I'm done running. And before anyone could react, she stood up, pulling something from her pocket. In the weak light, Ellie could see a glint of metal, an ornate locket that seemed to resonate with a strange energy. This is what they want, Tina said, her voice steadier than before. And it's what I need to break free. The alleys seemed to hush, tension coiling around them as the gravity of Tina's words settled in. Ellie was torn between fear and determination, the enormity of what lay ahead striking a chord deep in her. They had ventured into the shadows, and now they found themselves at the edge of a cliff, the darkness below promising unknown horrors. What are we about to unleash? Ellie murmured, an echo of her earlier thought, but now it held an unmistakable sense of dread. Tina clutched the locket tightly. Together, we can change everything. But we have to stand firm or lose everything we love. In that moment, the decision loomed heavy over them. Would they plunge into the darkness ahead or retreat into the safety of the night? As figures emerged from the shadows, Ellie felt time slowing. Courage surged through her, binding them tight in that flickering light. What's our next move? Max asked, determination igniting in his eyes. Ellie inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of their choices press against her chest. It's time to fight back. And as the shadows drew nearer, the certainty of their bond forged in the flames of fear sparked something deeper, a force greater than any of them could have anticipated. Would they stand and confront the shadows, or would they falter in the face of the truth? With hearts pounding, they braced themselves for what lay ahead, ready to face whatever darkness awaited them. But as they stood united, Ellie couldn't shake the feeling that their fight had just begun. The tension in the alley was electric, and in the face of uncertainty, Ellie felt a newfound determination surging through her. Tina clutched the ornate locket tightly, and the shadows danced ominously around them, as if anticipating the chaos that was about to unfold. Together, Ellie said firmly, standing shoulder to shoulder with Max and Tina. We're going to face this, no more hiding or running. Tina's eyes widened, reflecting both fear and a flicker of hope. You really mean it? Absolutely, Ellie replied, her voice stronger than she felt. No more pretending. We will fight for whatever this is. For you. Max echoed her sentiment, his hand gripping Tina's shoulder, grounding them both. Whatever it takes. As the dark figures emerged from the shadows, Ellie recoiled slightly, but she held her ground. The shadows morphed into silhouettes that loomed closer, revealing more than she expected, familiar faces from distant pasts. Ellie's heart sank, recognizing them from the world she thought she had left behind. Surprised to see us? One of the figures sneered. It was Carter, an old friend turned adversary, a former acquaintance from the chaotic days that nearly tore her apart. Ellie's stomach twisted. What do you want, Carter? The locket, he said with a grin that was both charming and cold. Hand it over, and you might just walk out of here unscathed. Tina's grip tightened on the locket, and Ellie felt a rush of protective fury. You won't take anything from her. It's not yours. You don't understand what it means. Carter stepped forward, an aggressive flash in his eyes. You think you can protect her? You have no idea what you're dealing with. Those of us in the know shut up. Ellie cut him off, her voice rising with courage she didn't know she had. You're not the authority here anymore. You don't control us. Around them, shadows shifted uneasily, uncertain how to respond. For the first time since the chaos began, Ellie sensed the weight of her own voice, the power in her convictions. You should listen to her, Cassie added from the sidelines, her expression shifting to one of solidarity. She speaks the truth. There are things about that locket you don't understand. What do you know? Carter shot back, his bravado wavering. The locket holds the power to break cycles, to release us from the chains you're trying to tighten around us. Tina's voice was stronger now, filled with a conviction that radiated into the alleyway. You won't scare me anymore. For a heartbeat, a stunned silence swept over them. Ellie could hardly believe the transformation before her eyes. Tina was rising to the occasion. Carter shifted, uncertainty dazzling his features. You think you can justify me? Yes, Ellie interjected, stepping forward boldly. We are not the people you once knew. We've learned too much, we're ready for whatever comes next. In that moment, time seemed to freeze as resolve swelled between them. The figures in the shadows exchanged glances. It was clear they hadn't anticipated this shift in the tide. Together, we are stronger. Tina declared, the words electrifying Ellie's spirit. With newfound determination sparking like fire in her veins, Ellie spread her arms wide, her heart pounding with a fierce urgency. If you want the locket so badly, come and take it. But we won't let you harm her. A challenge lingered in the air, daring them to make a move. Carter hesitated, and in that moment of hesitation, Ellie felt a swell of hope. They were no longer victims but a united force, grounding themselves against whatever darkness lay ahead. Trust each other, Cassie whispered, her eyes bright with encouragement. Hold tight to what connects you. Then, something unexpected happened. The shadows that had once loomed darkly around them began to retreat. Carter's bravado pricked like a balloon losing air. You're all fools, he spat, backing away. Tina clutched the locket even tighter, and the shadows glimmered around them. We're not afraid of you. Ellie felt buoyed by their unity, the strength of friendship wrapping around them like a protective barrier. In that moment, she knew they had crossed a threshold together, forged in unbreakable trust. As the figures disappeared into the alley's darkness, Ellie turned to Tina, eyes shining with unshed tears. We're here for you. Always. With a renewed sense of purpose, hand in hand, the trio stepped back into the world outside, the alley behind them fading into a memory that wouldn't hold them captive anymore. Freedom unfurled before them, colors brightening with every step they took together. Let us find our way back, Max said, casting an encouraging glance at Ellie and Tina. Back to what? Ellie questioned. Back to who we are, he replied. We just took a stand. There's a power in that. The words resonated in her heart as they stepped away from the shadows, their laughter breaking through the lingering fears. They had faced their demons and emerged stronger, realizing through the journey that family, friendship, and courage intertwined to create a bond that could overcome anything. As they moved forward together, Ellie couldn't help but glance back at the dark alley, knowing it would always be a part of her story, but not the ending. With hearts full of hope, they marched toward a future glimmering on the horizon, unencumbered by fear, empowered by love. And in that moment, together, they stepped boldly into the light of a new beginning. Now, this is the time for you to make your voice heard. You need to subscribe now and be part of our growing community. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment down below your reactions and feelings about this ending, we want to hear your thoughts. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Let us spread the love and courage together.